All right, we're here, Rutgers University. My former teammate, good friend of mine, Anthony Ashnault. So we're here with Anthony. How you doing today?
Doing real good. Training. We had a lift this morning. We got a practice coming up at 3. So we're in the grind of preseason right now, just getting ready to have a great year as a team. And for me, just looking forward to a little comeback season. I had a year off coming back from injury, so I'm excited to perform.
Now, what did you do mentally to prepare yourself while you're injured? You know, I mean, you couldn't physically train. I know that was very hard for you. So what did you do to just keep your mind focused and just improve mentally while you were injured?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of things. I mean, when you go through surgery for the first time, it's really difficult to keep your head in the game, to come watch practice and not be able to participate. So that was really tough for me. The first 2 months was just a tough process of getting used to not being able to do what I used to be able to do. And it was really just getting to know myself a lot better. I went through a process of maybe I didn't want to wrestle anymore because I was graduating school, or maybe I wanted to try to apply for a 6th year medical eligibility year. And that's what I ended up doing after a month or 2 of going back and forth in my mind, doing rehab 3-4 times a week and doing rehab the other days with my trainer the other days of the week. I realized I still had more in the tank, and I really had a passion for wrestling. So mentally, I was just staying sharp, and when I'd come to practice, I'd be visualizing myself doing the techniques that they're doing, or visualizing myself in the big moment in the spotlight, and just performing or just giving my best effort, if anything. I wouldn't be visualizing myself winning at the national finals or anything, just more going out there and giving my best effort in the national finals, and just visualizing that stage and visualizing the fans and the referees and my coaches yelling at me. And just for me, it was just a big point was visualization.
So you mentioned, you know, it's your 6th year of college wrestling. How has it changed from your 6th year, you know, compared to your 1st year here? You know, wrestling wise, school wise, you know, being the Big Ten wise, all that stuff.
Well, when you come in 1st year as a freshman, it's really difficult. You think you know everything. You're 18 years old. You think you have everything figured out in life, and then you kind of get hit sideways by the social aspect of college, living in a dorm on your own, trying to manage your money that you have for the whole semester and going through it in 2 weeks. So that was a big life change, if anything. I mean, just getting the feel of college and getting the feel of classes on my own without going through periods like in high school. I mean, some days you have no class, some days you have 3 classes, sometimes you're off on Fridays. It was just a big life change in general for wrestling. I think I worked as hard as I possibly could every time I came in the wrestling room, every time I came to the lift. But from my 1st to my 6th year, the biggest change has just been my lifestyle and being an overall great person, just not in the wrestling room, but also outside of the wrestling room, and making those little changes each year. Whether it be like cutting things out of my life or putting some things into my life, it's just a lot of it's been a mental process that I've been through from year to year. And I'd say going into my 6th year of college, I have a huge advantage over some of these younger guys just because of that, because I went through the ups and downs. I know my body, I know how my mind works, and I know what's going to work for me, what's not going to work for me. Yeah, it's definitely a big advantage having a lot of years under my belt.
So, you know, when you've been seasoned in wrestling, there's a saying, you know, you got to train smarter, not harder, especially your 6th year. How have you been training smarter? How have your training techniques changed?
Yeah, the biggest part is I'm not scared to take a day off here and there. When I was younger, my 1st year of college, I remember I wanted to show up every day, no matter how my body felt, which usually was a lot less beat up than it is now. But I just felt like I could go every day as hard as I can, and maybe in the long run that was a little hurtful for my body, just because if you're beat up, sometimes you need to take a step back, and it's better to go a little lighter some days than it is to keep pushing and pushing, and then all of a sudden your body starts breaking down by the time March comes around at the national tournament. So for me, it was just having the confidence that my wrestling's good enough, my body's strong enough, my mind's sharp enough when I could take a day off of the mat here and there, work on my mind, work on some recovery work on my shoulders and my knees and just body parts that are bothering me, and instead of just going through the pushing your body, pushing your mind to the absolute limit every single day. Just because I'm taking some practices off doesn't mean I'm not still working though. I mean, when I'm off the mat to the side, I'm either doing some rehab on my body, or I'm doing mental repetition of just how I'm going to go through my pre-match ritual, or how I'm going to deal with adversity when I'm about to wrestle a match and the guy before me loses a match, or how I'm going to perform the techniques they're working on in practice. How am I going to go implement them into my style? A big part for me has just changed. The mental part has changed a lot, and I'm so much more active. It's always been just go, 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 and now it's go, go, go when I have to, and then when I'm not, I'm still working mentally.
Yeah, dialing it back. So Wrestling Mindset, Gene's been here a couple times speaking to not only you, but the team. Out of their lessons they gave you, not looking at the rankings, relaxing under pressure, which one do you think was most beneficial for you?
For me, the most beneficial is probably not looking at like the internet forums and not looking at the rankings as much as I can. It's tough not to look at your bracket in college just because sometimes you want to see what opponents you're going to wrestle and their tendencies. But for the most part, just trying to dial back when I'm outside of the wrestling room and lifting room and training room, dialing back, looking at so much wrestling content just because I want to stay fresh and I don't want to put extra nerves into it just because I'm staring at what people are saying about me or looking what people have expectations about me about. And also, I think a lot of it I took out of it is you have to practice your mental reps. Like, what I mean by that is you have to be putting in the work. You can't just expect to show up on Friday and Sunday nights when you have a big dual meet against Iowa or Penn State and expect to just be ready and not nervous and just go perform. It's the more I kept putting the nerves in the back of my mind and not really coming to realization of how I felt about things, the worse it would be when that moment came. So the more I practice and really put my mind in that moment by visualizing it and kind of just talking through it with different people, maybe it's my teammates, maybe it's my coaches, maybe it's mindset coaches, the more I talk about those kind of issues and the things that are coming up in my mind, the better off I am, because when that time comes, then I'm ready for it. I've already seen it 100 times. I already practiced it in my mind. I practice it in practice enough with the moves, but I practiced that situation in my mind, and I'm not shocked when I get out there and I have to go compete in front of thousands of fans. I've already been there a bunch of times.
So everyone's seen the mindset blast that Gene put up. Can you give us a quick mindset blast real quick? You got to do the fist and everything. You got to make sure you
do I do mindset blast at the end?
Well, we could get it. We could mix around with it. We could get it. We could get it later. Think of a good one. We could get you somewhere else doing it.
Something motivational that you know.
If I get put on the spot, I can't do it. You got to think of the quote first, and
Yeah.
then you got to do it.
Yeah. See, that's
So
coming.
so you got to think about what might be a favorite quote. Like, a quitter never wins or a winner never quits. Shoot for the moon because even if you miss, you'll still be among the stars.
Yeah.
We could get
And
into
then
it.
it's like mindset blast, and then you hit it.
Yeah.
We cover it.
I got one by Harry Truman. I don't remember the whole quote. It's like, you could accomplish anything as long as you're willing not to take credit for it.
We get hit.
Yeah.
It is a good
That's
one.
a good one.
All right, so we came from a
Look it up, Gene.
Harry Tubman?
Harry Tubman or Harry Truman?
Harry Tubman.
That's the underground.
Isn't Harry Truman the president?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's
Harry
him.
Tubman was the underground.
Harry Truman.
Truman, yeah. So we came from a pretty top-notch high school. We were the #1 team in the state a couple of times. How did you carry that culture, that South Plainfield culture into this Rutgers wrestling room? I know your brother was here. Just mention that. Was there any way to not live up to your brother's hype, but was there extra pressure that your brother wrestled here? He had a pretty great career. Was there any pressure with that or anything?
Of course. I mean, when I was going through the recruiting process, like I was looking at schools that had great reputations in the fact that they were placing high at nationals and in their conference tournaments, because I came from such a great program in South Plainfield. And it was a really tough decision to come to Rutgers because Rutgers was on the up and coming and they were looking to grow something special here. But at the end of the day, I had like three or four teammates that came along with me from South Plainfield to Rutgers, so that made it pretty easy to come with my brother coaching here and having teammates from the same year, the same high school. It's like we grew up as friends, and we got to go compete in college together, and that was really special. The culture At Rutgers, when I first got here, though, it was not the same as coming from South Plainfield. We were just building and molding that culture of being one unit, not having like different cliques on the team. So we were trying to get rid of all that and trying to implement kind of like what we had at South Plainfield, just being one unit, attacking that one goal together, and everything we do is as one. Friends on the mat, friends off the mat, and we communicate. And now I'm really happy to say by my 6th year here, it's like the culture is totally different, just like it was when we were in high school. It's like everyone's one unit. We're hanging out not only in the locker room, but we're hanging out at each other's houses, and we're going out to eat together, and we're just talking about different things, gossiping about everything, social life, girls, like what people did the night before, or like anything that normal teenage college kids talk about. Now this team is a unit. We're all together with the coaches. We're honest with each other. We hold each other accountable, and it's important because when you're good friends and you're holding each other accountable, and you don't have to rely on the coaches to hold each other accountable. If one guy goes down, the whole team's going to go down. If one guy goes up, the whole team goes up. So it's like everybody's moving as one, and that's extremely important to me, and I'm happy because I feel like that was one of my goals when I first came to school here. I wanted that to happen, and I wanted Rutgers to be a national powerhouse. So to see that we're now top 10 in the country, we're preseason ranked 14th, but we finished 11th in the country last year, and when I first got here, we were finishing in the 30s in the country. So it's been a consistent climb, and that's really exciting to see, knowing that I had the choice to go to some schools that were already established, like Penn State's, Michigan's, Oklahoma State's, and I decided to turn them down and come build something really special here. And I think a lot went along with it, not just me, but one of my goals was to start something special, and I think the group that I came in with, a couple of the guys from South Plainfield, we really started that off, and it's really taken off from there.
So what kind of advice could you give an incoming freshman, wrestling here at Rutgers? What's some solid advice you could give them?
Just be open, don't be stubborn. If someone tells you a bit of advice or something that they think that's going to make you better, just take it in, take everything in, listen to it, because it's most likely coming from a person that's been there and probably made that mistake or made that wrong decision and is just trying to help you out. I remember going back to my freshman year, just a lot of times it would go in one year and out the other. Like I knew what the whole world had to offer me, and I knew everything, and I had this perfect plan. But no matter what you think's going to happen, things are going to change, and there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. So you just got to take it for what it is. If someone older than you, or if I'm talking to a freshman as a 6th-year guy and I'm telling you something, it's probably because I've been there and I just want to help you out and get through that situation a little better.
So when it's all said and done, when it's all finished, because it comes to an end, what do you want Anthony Ashnault to be known for?
I want to be known for just being a humble, hard-working kid, left it all on the mat. I came from South Plainfield. I want that to be known. Just being homegrown in New Jersey, I kept my roots close. I stayed with my family. I stayed with my friends. You don't have to go far from where you live to make something special for college. Just like what we're doing with the football team right now, we're trying to keep these recruits at home, and I want to be just known for that, known for making that commitment to the Rutgers program and trying to make it a special thing here.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, thanks, appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Nice job, man.
All right, now I have some of those.